We're joined by the best hair in the ECC, Dylan Eckhart. We got, possibly the best hit in the history of game day, though I'm not sure Joe would agree, but Joe Lillis is on the call. Alex Fayan, Caleb Holdridge, Ryan Huta, Mason LaForte, Kyle Jacobson, and Coach Scott Hicks. Guys, all can't thank you enough for being on the call. This is going to be a lot of fun because this game, I think, when you go back and look at it, this is a game you're going to watch a lot, I'm thinking, because it was a special game for a lot of reasons. And, Coach, let me just start with you. So many years of East Lyme dominance. I mean, they were a true dynasty 8 years in a row. What was different with this Waterford team? What was special about this Waterford team that got you over the hump?
I think the big thing I picked up after a couple of games is they really thought they could beat anybody. This was like the 32nd year I've coached high school lacrosse. And I'll be honest with you, I've had teams in the past that you would go up against East Lyme, and you could just tell by their body language, the way they warmed up. They just were hoping to keep it somewhat close. They didn't have any chance of winning, but you never got that sense here. And I think, like, after we played East Lyme the first time, it was like so much disappointment. Silent bus ride on the way home. Everything you want. I mean, they were really mad at themselves because they just thought we gave it away. And we all knew it. You know, myself, I gave it away. Should have called that timeout, Alex. But, you know, it's just a game. And then the second one, we played the way we could.
Dylan, we talked a little bit. You play, a lot of you guys play other sports, but the East Lyme Waterford rivalry transcends all of the sports. It happens in all of them. From your perspective, you've been a part of some, big games. I mean, to say that, you play Waterford basketball. For those that play Waterford basketball, I mean, there's no bigger game than Waterford East Lyme in basketball. But something special about this lacrosse rivalry, and you mentioned, playing with these kids for a long time and against them for a long time. Talk a little bit about this rivalry.
Yeah, it goes back deep. Like I was saying before, like me and Robbie Swenson, like we've been playing against each other for like probably a decade, like since we were like tiny little baby Pee Wee lacrosse players. But yeah, like basketball too. I remember the season game that we lost against them at East Lyme. We walked into the big foyer there at East Lyme, and the line is like before we even got there, the JV game was sold out, packed. Just craziness. It's a good rivalry. I always say this is the best game though.
So what felt better, an ECC basketball championship or an ECC lacrosse championship?
The lacrosse one, definitely, by far.
In part because you're beating the New York Yankees of lacrosse, right? I mean, you're beating the team that didn't lose. You're part of the group that beat them. We mentioned the hit, Joe. What do you remember about the hit? I'm being serious. I'm serious. I mean, what do you remember about it, both before and how your team responded?
I remember that ball coming in extremely slow and like, okay, this one's going to hurt. Like I knew someone was going to be there. On the lacrosse field, you just have to expect someone to be right in front of you. And I already knew what was going to happen. I didn't think it was going to be that hard, but I don't know. Football kind of trained me for that one. But after, I just remember seeing who was replacing me. I saw that we had some solid people solid people already still on the field. We had Cooper Alloway in net. We still had Dylan on the field, Ethan. I knew we were good. We were going to be fine until I got back in the game. And if I wasn't able to get back in, I still think we would have been just fine.
Alex, how did you guys rally, around each other in games like this? I mean, you guys had lost in heartbreaking fashion the year before in the ECC championship game, in a game I know you guys thought you should have won. How do you rally around your teammates in a game like this and stay focused when you're playing a team like East Lyme, who at one point scored 6 straight goals against you?
I think the most important part, Mason mentioned it earlier, was we had beaten them earlier in the season for the first time, at least for all of us, for when we were in high school. And to know that we could do it and this is something we can do, it's not impossible, was something big. And I also think just approaching the game like one step at a time and knowing that they were a good team and they were going to make a run. They've done this pretty much every game we've ever played them, where they win a few faceoffs in a row and all of a sudden they're right back in it. And we were just ready for it and prepared. So when it happened, it didn't take us too much by surprise. We just knew we had to respond, and that was going to dictate who won or who lost.
Caleb, you score this goal right at the buzzer to end the period to put you guys up 9-4. Two questions. One, did you guys think this was going to be a repeat and that you were going to run away with this one? And two, how aware were you of the time on the clock? You got that off literally with under a second remaining. So did you think you were going to run away with it? And how are you with the time in your head?
For the first question, I mean, there's definitely a feeling that we were going to pull out another blowout, but just given it was the ECC championship and all, lacrosse is a game of run, so you never know what's going to happen. And they went on their huge run. We just need to make another play to get the game back in our favor. And then for the second question, honestly, I had no idea what the time was. I was kind of wondering why Alex just chucked it field, and we had a 3v3 just sprinting down the field, so I figured it was a good time to take a shot.
That's all. I actually like hearing. It's funny because Peter, I'll watch Peter nod his head on this. It's shocking to us how many big plays on game day have occurred with either no concept of the time or the wrong route being run, or I wasn't even supposed to be in on that play. It's remarkable how when you guys don't really think, lots of good things tend to happen. I'll leave that for what it is. I can't mention Caleb without mentioning Mason LaForte, because it feels like every time I mention Mason, he was dishing off to Caleb and good things were happening. You guys put a lot of points on the board together. And, of course, I had a LaForte in the booth with me. So, Mason, your dad's responsible for 98% of my lacrosse knowledge. It's not a lot, but he's responsible for most of it. Talk a little bit about what it's like to play, because you really are a great facilitator. Talk about what it's like to play with guys who can do the things that some of these guys could do.
I mean, playing in an offense where potentially all 6 players, if they wanted to, probably could have gone and played college lacrosse, kind of speaks for itself. You have trust in people that you know where they're going to be after playing with them for just a short amount of time. And you know that they're going to make the right play when it comes down to it. So I guess really having that trust with each other and playing with each other, getting that chemistry going helps a lot.
Yeah, you guys were a very dynamic team, and you were probably the most fun team to watch that year as well. You guys were pretty exciting. I thought you had a really great blend, and I hope you take this the right way, a really great blend of skilled players and some kind of goofballs. And I mean that in the best possible way, because I think a team needs to be a blend, and sometimes you have to have the kind of player that doesn't take things too seriously. So Kyle, that's a great picture, by the way. Very handsome.
The flow.
I do. I like what you got going on. I got the cabbages. The lettuce is good.
Yeah.
This year obviously disappointing for you.
Yeah.
Not being able to go out the way that you wanted to. But talk a little bit about. So you will go out of high school as the ECC champion. There is no champion of ECC lacrosse this year. It remains Waterford. How do you look back at that game and last season as sort of your leaving of Waterford High School?
I don't know. Kind of sucks that we didn't know it was our last game, but I think if I knew it was my last game, it would have been a lot different. Would have been trying to make it special or something like that, which I don't know if I'd like that or not, but I wish we could do it all over again. I miss it, but I don't know.
Is there lacrosse in your future?
Yeah, definitely.
So we're going to have to do this again next year, and we'll talk a little bit about, looking back with some perspective after college lacrosse, because I do think life changes a little bit when you move on to college lacrosse. But, in this game, it was a very, very physical game. You seem to sort of like that style of play. Talk together with East Lyme and things started to get physical. What was the mentality that you brought to the game?
I kind of like the physical aspect. It's more fun because I'm I'm bigger and I don't look that heavy, but I am pretty heavy. So like people don't expect it that much. So it's really fun to hit somebody who thinks I'm way lighter than I am and they don't expect it, and then just hitting, like laying a big hit or something like that, I think is way more exciting than scoring a goal, in my opinion, just because it happens way less. So
as a stocky guy myself, I would just say laying the hits are always more fun than getting hit. So
oh yeah,
you did that well. Moving on to another great head of hair and one of my favorite names to say, Mr. Huta. Look at the flow.
Not as good as Dylan's though.
It's all right. Dylan's going to cut his off, and you can slide right into his slot. Talk a little bit about just your thoughts on the rivalry that existed for where your perspective on it, and looking back at this game. Did you realize then just how classic a game you were about to enter into?
So sort of talking about the rivalry. I mean, like Dill said earlier, we played with these kids back in like 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade, all the way through senior year, which is sort of crazy to think about. And then to finish it the way that we did in the ECC finals, to beat East Lyme in our senior year, win Waterford's first ever ECC title was definitely great. And the fact that we were able to do it with the same Waterford kids that grew up together and played throughout the whole year was awesome. And then the fact that we were able to beat East Lyme in the final made it that much better for sure.
Coach, you're up 5 goals. They come all the way back. They take the lead. You guys go back and forth, and then you had to think you had it sewn up when they score. Going, no time left. Now it's going into overtime. How do you get a group of kids who have never won a championship to get rid of that heartbreak and go into overtime against a team that had won 8 straight? I mean, how do you even craft a message like that?
Well, I don't remember exactly what I said. I was probably thinking more like, when you go into overtime, you still haven't lost. And at the beginning of the year, with this group of kids, you said we're going to go to the ECC title and go into overtime in the championship, we all would have taken that. No one would have said no to that. And, it's just like, I think at the end of the huddle, I said, somebody make a play. And, it started with Alloway, ended with Caleb. And honestly, I'm 1-5 in ECC championship games. And there is no better way than to beat East Lyme that way. Because they were riding on a cloud. They thought they had it.
Yeah.
And, I feel bad for them. But just to win it that way with these kids all year, and we had some great games besides the East Lyme game. Our win over Notre Dame, West Haven.
Yeah.
Great win there. Pouring rain all day. Summers we lost by a couple goals, after like a 17-hour bus ride up there. But, it was just a great season. And I think the way it ended was we were destined, all year long. We were just destined to play. And, we had some strings of games where we weren't challenged. And then all of a sudden we have to play 2 or 3 that, we got to play really good teams. And we were able to maintain our level of play even through those games that weren't very challenging.
Well, one thing about this, it did really seem fitting. If you're going to win, to win this game, it had to be through the fire. It wasn't – you weren't going to win the ECC championship 18-9, right? It was going to have to be something where your adversity was tested and your hearts were tested, and that's certainly what happened. Caleb, these guys had all played together. Obviously, you came in late to the game, so these guys had all been playing together. Talk a little bit about when you arrived in Waterford and who, which of these guys greeted you, and how did you incorporate yourself into a team that had been playing together for so long?
The first people I met when I got here was my uncle Landry. He introduced me to Mike and Mason, and then LJ, who used to play for Waterford, but went to prep school. And I kind of got to be good friends with them right off the bat, and they introduced me to lacrosse team, and just throughout school for my 2 years here, those were always my best friends around and people I could look to whenever.
And that, of course, we'll start with you. You took those relationships and kind of continued on with them. Talk a little bit about where you are right now and what the next, where you'll be a year from now.
So right now I'm at the Coast Guard Academy, and we actually returned June 20th for our summer assignments, but we have no idea what we're doing as of right now. But the first year went pretty well, just getting through all the fourth class traditions, which are annoying, but you got to do. And then it sucked that the lacrosse season was cut short, especially since it was right before we went to conference play. And we went to spring break on a loss to Mason's brother at Grove City. And we didn't know, we found out like right before we were coming back, we were supposed to come back, that the school year was canceled, season was canceled. So that was kind of tough. But the first half of the season was definitely a growing experience. And we got to play some really good teams like Salisbury and Wesleyan, who are two top teams in the D3 nation.
Wesleyan alum. Just saying, I had hopes that you might be a Cardinal instead of a Cadet, but it's okay.
No hard feelings. But definitely the first half of the season was a great experience, learning experience, and I'm glad it happened. No idea what I'm going to do with my 1 year eligibility right now, but we'll see.
No rush just yet. No rush. Alex, what about you?
I'm at Bentley University, also playing lacrosse. And kind of to echo what Caleb said, it's unfortunate the season and the school year just got cut short, but it is what it is. Not much we can do about it. Other than that, I'm excited for the next 3 years. Like, I'm glad that obviously to have this chapter in my lacrosse life as well as the high school one, and hopefully everything can go back to normal. I'm hoping we can return for the fall semester, but I guess it's still up in the air as of right now.
Did you get a chance to go to any Bentley men's or women's basketball games? National powerhouse Bentley.
Yeah, I did go to a women's. I think I went to like 2 women's games and 1 men's game. Yeah, they're pretty good. Coming from Waterford, it's kind of tough to live up to Lancer Nation. I know another Waterford 2019 grad also goes to Bentley, and Cassidy, and we were talking about how it's tough to live up to Lancer Nation, but the players are obviously really good. It's great games to watch, just not the fan experience.
I went to see Waterford alumni Mikey Bassetto play for Southern New Hampshire when they played at Bentley. Didn't work out well for the Southern New Hampshire group, but a lot of banners on the Bentley walls for basketball. It's a beautiful school. I'm glad you had a good year.
Thank you.
Joe, what's going on with you?
I go to City, University of London in London, England. They actually do have a few club lacrosse club lacrosse programs around the city. I decided I didn't miss the bruises and I wouldn't play, but after watching this game again, I'm second guessing my decision. So we'll see if I bring my lacrosse stick over in September.
So are you back here or are you still in England right now?
Nope, I'm back home now. I took the first plane I could get.
I'm glad you're home and I'm glad you're safe.
Thank you.
How did you enjoy your experience over the pond?
I loved it. I could not complain whatsoever. Met a great group of people, great group of friends, and city's great. City's clean, city's beautiful, and there's so much to do. And I'm definitely going to go back there and travel a little bit.
But with your stick?
Yes, with my lacrosse stick, Robert.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Ryan, what's up with you, man?
So I'm at the University of Rhode Island right now.
Rhody Rams.
Didn't play any sports like Joe, but I completely agree after watching this and just the competitive spirit almost makes you just want to absolutely get back out there and play. So, but I am looking into like an intramural next year, hockey or lacrosse, something like that. But yeah, that's about it.
How did you like your first year at Rhody?
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Met a lot of good guys up there. Yeah, it was just a fun experience for sure.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
Mason, what about you?
Next year, I'm going to be going to prep school for a year and then on to the Coast Guard Academy. So
that seems awfully fitting. That's a great place. Congratulations. That's a heck of a plan. So I get to again see a LaForte and Holdridge, you guys are going to try to put some points on the board of college lacrosse?
Oh, for sure.
I love it. Well, congratulations. And, both of you guys at Coast Guard, when you're there together, that's going to be awesome. Peter, I'm going to put it out there early. We're going to have to do a Coast Guard lacrosse game. We got too many local connections. We got to get out there and do a Coast Guard game.
That sounds good.
So, Kyle, if I'm right, you're going to Hartford?
Not anymore.
Oh, it's breaking news. Where are you going?
The Coast Guard, same as Mason.
All right, so this is fabulous because that's even better.
Yeah.
Now we definitely have to do. We're gonna just call it. We're gonna call it Lancer South, Lancer on the shore, down in New London. I love it. I never had so many Waterford kids in a New London place at one time. This is great. I'm really proud of all you guys that are going to be Coast Guard guys. That's great. Where are you starting?
Same place as Mason, Naps.
Okay. Oh, Navy Prep.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine played football at Naps many, many years ago before heading New London, heading on to UConn for football. So great program. Love it. So that's going to be great. You guys are all doing really great for yourselves. I'm really proud of you. This is my favorite part is watching how well you guys do as you matriculate out. And so you guys really are doing your schools and yourselves proud. Coach, it sounds like you got a smart group of guys here. Is that a good thing in lacrosse?
Yes. We didn't really have any grade issues, things like that. One thing, they had an unbelievable lacrosse IQ when I came in. And, I remember like third day or something talking to Caleb a lot and Huta, and we moved Mason to attack. And I'm like, your guys are 3-on-3, decide and probably just go to the net. I mean, that's why we scored so many goals all year. But it just came down to everybody. The defense ran itself. They were such a knowledgeable between Dylan and Joe and Ethan and Fayan. I mean, they would have their own huddles and decide what went wrong. I would step in a couple times against East Lyme and just tell them to stop sliding. But, no, it was a great experience. For years, I totally didn't know what the true words of Sweet Caroline were. And they enlightened me.
Yep.
So that was, something I will always remember, that first win over East Lyme. But no, it was just a great year for me.
I'm sure you're ready to see some normalcy come back next year.
Oh, yeah. This was like the worst spring, not having lacrosse. My son was supposed to be starting at Fitch this year. His season got canceled. We don't know if summer ball is going to happen. It's just everything. I coach box lacrosse in the winter, and we don't know if that'll be happening this year. It's just, and even I teach also. So whether or not even we're going to be in school, because
sure,
distance learning is not fun. I don't care if you're in college, high school, middle school. It's not the same.
No.
Guys aren't together. They don't get to talk to each other.
Well, these guys became who they are because they were with each other, and that's a big part of it. So I will say that the one thing that East Lyme had you beat on were post-goal celebratory.
We don't do those. No.
I watched the knockout punch, the rowing race, and the leapfrog. But what I think the best celebration of all was the post-game celebration of Waterford High School after winning the 2019 ECC championship. That seemed to be a pretty genuine celebration. Real quick, 5 seconds on each of you. I'll start with Dylan. What went through your mind when Caleb put that ball in the net?
Tears. I was so happy, ecstatic. It was great.
No?
It's about damn time.
Well said. Alex?
I was just proud for everyone in the program, just happy, not just for us, but for everyone who came before us and us as well.
Kyle. Kyle.
Oh, I thought I was kind of open, but I was happy to kill him.
Ryan.
Finally, couldn't be happier. Yeah.
Mace,
This is long past due. We finally beat them in the championship.
Caleb, when you saw it go in,
Echo what Joe said. About damn time.
Coach.
Just look for somebody to hug.
Do you remember who you hugged?
I think I grabbed Brower. Former Waterford lacrosse player.
I appreciate
Make
it.
it fitting.
We are going to go back and watch now the second half of perhaps the greatest game day, second half, certainly of lacrosse that we've seen. If you are wondering what's going to happen, I'm not going to tell you. Stick around. If you know what's going to happen, you're certainly going to want to watch. It will be a tale of about 3 or 4 different games in the second half, all leading to an epic Waterford championship in overtime, the 2019 Waterford Lancers in a game day classic. I want to thank very much Dylan Eckhart, Caleb Holdridge, Alex Fayan, Joe Lillis, Mason LaForte, Ryan Huta, Kyle Jacobson, and Coach Scott Hicks. Guys, these things are what's getting me through this spring and summer right now. I can't thank you enough for being so enthusiastic and sharing some of your time with us here at Game Day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.